Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announcing today that Homeland Security has started to fly detainees out of Alligator Alcatraz, the detention center there in the Florida Everglades. And you can see this post here on social media from the governor as he says, "We stood up Alligator Alcatraz in just 8 days as a centralized facility for deportation staging. The facility has a 2-mile runway that allows federal military aircraft to transport illegal aliens out of the country right on site. These deportation flights operated by DHS are underway, and we will support efforts to increase cadence of the flights so that the number of illegal aliens deported keeps increasing." Here is what the governor had to say earlier on today.
This was never intended to be something where people are just held and we just kind of twiddle our thumbs. The whole purpose is to make this be a place that can facilitate increased frequency and numbers of deportations of illegal aliens. And that is the goal. And one of the reasons why this was a sensible spot is because you have this runway that's right here. You don't have to drive them an hour to an airport. You go a couple thousand feet and they can be on a plane and out of here. So I'm pleased to report that those flights out of Alligator Alcatraz by DHS have begun. The cadence is increasing. We've already had a number of flights in the last few days. We've had hundreds of illegals have been removed from here, and the federal government has a process of how they eventually do, and they've done it different ways on some of these different flights. But the reality is this provides an ability to enhance the mission to increase the number and frequency of deportations.
Again, that was Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis earlier on today. Now, if you're not too familiar with Alligator Alcatraz, it's that detention center right there for those in the country illegally to be detained until deportation. As Governor DeSantis mentioned, it was constructed in just about a week, with President Trump paying a visit and taking a tour of that facility located in the Everglades. Governor DeSantis has said if anyone tries to escape, the only thing surrounding that detention center are alligators and pythons. At today's news conference with the governor was the state's new CFO, just sworn in days ago. That is Blaise Ingoglia. He's joined us previously in his role as state senator, and he joins us now live to talk more about Alligator Alcatraz. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
All right, so first off, the big question I did want to ask you overall, do you feel that Alligator Alcatraz is living up to what you would have expected as this idea did play out and become a reality?
Yeah, and we get closer to that reality every day. The detention center was meant to be a place where somebody would have their final deportation orders, and it would be a central holding facility, and they would probably be there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks max, and then we would start shipping them back to other countries. So it's been successful. The Democrats don't like that it's successful, but it is.
How significant is it, the announcement earlier today from Governor DeSantis that detainees are being flown out by Homeland Security and deported just really weeks after this center opened?
Yeah, that's the plan. And you heard the comments there from Governor DeSantis that it's not meant to be a facility to hold illegal immigrants in perpetuity. It's meant to be a facility where we can start organizing, and a place for us to hold the illegal immigrants, especially the criminal illegal immigrants, in a place where then we can start to organize them and then start shipping them back to the country. So the idea is an immigrant comes in, an illegal immigrant comes in, gets processed, gets checked, they're staying there for a couple of weeks, and then they get sent back to their country or another country, and then another illegal immigrant would take that bed, and you have this cycle where it's constantly being turned over, where new illegals are coming in and then shipped out.
I did want to ask you, because when this concept first came out, a lot of people thought that Alligator Alcatraz was just maybe a nickname for this facility, but it's the actual name. Can you explain kind of the basis behind that?
I think it's a marketing tool to show illegal immigrants that we are serious about cracking down on illegal immigration and sending you back to your home country if you do not have the legal authority to be here. The name Alligator Alcatraz probably has universal name ID here in the state of Florida. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody knows what it's used for. And I think that will aid in a deterrent, because what illegal immigrants can do is self-deport. So they have a choice. They can self-deport, or if they get caught, when they get caught, they can be sent to Alligator Alcatraz. So in that aspect, I think we're getting the message across loud and clear.
I did want to ask you, because you were at a news conference a couple weeks ago there, earlier on this month, and Democrat lawmakers were touring that facility and had a lot to say. And before I get your take, I want to play this quick soundbite here from Debbie Wasserman Schultz as she had exited that facility.
They are using cages. These detainees are living in cages. The pictures that you've seen don't do it justice. They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage.
So how do you respond to those critics on the Democratic side when they're making comments like that?
It's a detention center. It's not the Four Seasons. It's not the Ritz-Carlton. These are criminal aliens who have been caught by DHS, ICE, and are sent there on final deportation orders. This is not meant to be, a weekend in paradise. So, and let us not forget, it has to resemble a jail cell. So these are the same type of facilities that were built under the Obama administration. This is what it is. So this is all performative. They're just trying to rile up their base for the purposes of probably getting them excited for the midterm elections, or probably to fundraise off of it. I'm sorry to say, but that's basically what it is.
And right now you're looking at some of the video from inside that detention center. As you mentioned, it is a detention center meant to house those who are in the country illegally as they are kind of waiting to be deported. Now, on that same note, what would you say is one maybe misconception, misunderstanding that you think people have about the facility and the mission of it that you want to make sure while you're on here to kind of clear up to folks who are watching?
Well, the first thing I would say is anything that comes out of the Democrats pertaining to this facility is just absolutely false. I'm just going to make that blanket statement, because I really haven't heard anything truthful come out of their mouths regarding this facility. But I think what people really need to know is that this is a facility not for taking people off of the streets and then throwing them in this facility. This is a facility that houses illegal immigrants on final deportation orders. Not one of them has not gone through their process. This is the last step for them to be released.
Do you think other states are going to follow suit and do something similar?
They should. They should follow Florida's lead and build something similar, because we are not going to solve this problem unless we have an orderly fashion for people to leave. Now, it would be great if everyone self-deported and used the CBP One app or whatever app they're using to self-deport, but we know that many of them won't. The vast majority of them won't take advantage of that, a free flight back home, courtesy of the U.S. government. So this is the only way to do it. We're going to have a place where we house them before we send them back.
All right. Blaise Ingoglia, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. Congratulations on your new position there as Florida CFO. Anything else you want to add here before I let you go?
No, actually, I do want to. The Democrats, actually, a reporter made a point. The Democrats have been, trying to describe the facilities, and we say that they're just lying. One of the things that they were saying was that the place is so mosquito-borne that you have to wear nets because the mosquitoes are so bad. So during the press conference today, there was a reporter that said that we're all sitting here and we have bug spray all over us. And I wanted to say the statement, but you're not seeing any bugs, aren't you? That's telling you that what the left is saying about the facility is inaccurate.
All right, Blaise, thank you again for taking the time to join us here. We appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.